Do you ever feel like success is out of reach for you? Well, you are going to want to be tuned into today's video because today I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing author, serial entrepreneur, 2020's Miss Indiana Woman of Achievement, wife, mom of twins. I mean, all of the things. I've got the beautiful Miss Di Carter. Thanks for coming on today, Di.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the introduction. You are the best. Thank you, Sissy.
I
I'm
was like, I
just
don't
super
even know if I'm
excited to
going to
be
get it
here right
all in.
now.
I'm thrilled to have you here. What I love about you is that you are just like the sweetest human being. Like we've been kind of following each other on social for a little bit now, and you're just
Yes.
so sweet. But the amazing thing is I got to read a little bit of your backstory recently. You were in a book, The Elevation
Yeah.
of the Femalepreneur, and whoa, like the woman that I was seeing on social media, I had no idea the story behind that. And when I read that, when you mentioned it, I was like, let me go grab that. I'm gonna grab that book, and I grabbed it. And when I read your chapter, I was just like, this woman is so inspiring. More and more people need to hear from her and learn more about her story, because there's so many people, I think, that just think that success is out of reach for them, that it's something that they can't quite do. But I'm reading your book, right? Sometimes people see successful people on social
Yes.
media like you, and they're like, oh, must have been easy, must have been a breeze. That was not your reality, right? That was not your reality. Right. So tell us a little bit about your early life in Brazil. What was that experience like? Where'd you come from?
Oh, Cece, it's a really, really incredible story. But at the same time, is I'm not the only person that been through this story. We have so many people that have. And I'm just hoping by telling a little bit of my story, it will resonate with a few people that's going to be here live, and probably for the hundreds of people that's going to be on the replay. But my name is Di Carter, just like Cece said. I have twin girls, and the background of my story is I was born in Brazil, South America, and my family was poor, right? We were brought up in poverty. And what I mean poverty is poverty, which means is having new clothes and new shoes is a luxury. Whenever it comes to food, eating meat, chicken, steak, and all the kind of stuff, it's a luxury. So, but we were very happy people. Okay, we were very happy kids. We used to just run around the streets and make up our own games because we didn't have board games. We didn't have toys coming into us when we were younger. And we just figured out a way how to make toys. So like one of the memories that I always have is whenever kids or moms would bring like a bottle of Coke, which was a luxury to have, soda, we used to
Yeah.
get the bottle and the plastic, and then we used to make toys out of them. And those are the memories that I have when I think about my childhood until I was about, I would say, 8 to 9 or 10 years old. My mom I was raised by a single parent too, and a babysitter. My family, was a little bit wrecked, right? Because I didn't have my father in my life. But it was pretty interesting story. I love that I came from a background like that. Today, I realize how important it was to have that background, because it
Yeah.
gives you a sense of that you can go through whatever it needs to be done, so that way you can have the success, that you're looking for. So it just helps you to be stronger. So it's
Yeah.
it's a pretty amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing because sometimes I hear people talking about like, I'd love to get in business, but I don't have family who's really successful. So I don't feel like I can be successful. So when you can see someone like you who has created lots of success and know that, look, she didn't come from this lavish experience. She didn't have people that gave her a hand up. She had to figure it out on her own. I mean, that in and of itself is really powerful because we all have a story. We all have something that we've experienced, but we have the choice whether we're going to live in that history or if we're going to live towards our future. And you did that.
Yes, it completely changes because I hear that a lot too. Like probably you had someone that helped you. Probably you had someone in your family that was an entrepreneur. Somebody have opened a business, and it really wasn't that. Like my family, I have nobody that has a history of being an entrepreneur. A matter of fact, like because we were on the village, a very small village, a very small town. And we were
Hmm.
by the beach. So all the jobs that we had was actually working in hotels or working on the beach. I remember my great grandmother, she used to catch crabs in the beach, and then she would have take it home, she would have cook it, and she would go back to the beach and sell that. So that's the things that I saw, is
Yeah.
that they were just trying to survive and make sure that we had what we needed to have, right? Few clothes, food, and it just be able to, to be happy. And I mean, don't get me wrong, just because we didn't have anything, it didn't mean that we were not happy kids. I think we were
Absolutely.
extremely happy. We were excited about to be able to have this big family too, because my grandmother had 13 kids. So I have over 20 cousins. So we all kind of like the same
Wow.
age. So we were happy. We didn't care that we didn't have money. And we didn't know the difference of having money and not having money either. I find out that a little bit later, when I turn about 10 years old, that, life could be different, so and that I tell that a little bit on the book too.
Yeah, yeah. So we're not going to be able to cover every detail, but I love that, right? Because
Yeah.
there comes a seminal moment in your life where you realize, oh, what's been normal for me isn't necessarily what everybody else experiences at normal, and you got to see how the other side lives. Briefly tell us just a little
Mhm.
bit about what that was.
So what happened was, like I told you guys, my mom was a single. I was raised by a single mom and a babysitter. And whenever I turned 9 to 10 years old, my mom is absolutely gorgeous, and that she met a senator. Okay, someone that was well educated, have an amazing job. Everybody knew him in town. We moved right to this big city, and now I was living a luxury life. Okay, so
Mm,
that started to happen on my life a little bit. I started going to better school, having better friends, but nobody knew like my background. Nobody knew where I came from. And in a way,
mhm.
I kind of hidden. I wasn't telling people like about my family because they will probably wouldn't even understand because they never had that in their life.
Right.
And but that didn't last very long either, okay? Because he ended up in having diabetes, and he died when I was close to my 16 years old. So I had to figure it out all over again. So I came from poverty to have some money because now my mom was
Yep.
with this person that was be able to take care of her, and then all of a sudden I was on zero again, and I have to figure it out all over again how like who I was going to be, at 16
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah. So let's fast forward a little bit. Here you are, you've experienced what it's like to not have much. At the time, you don't realize just what that means until you get a taste of the new life. You get a taste of what the other side lives like. You lose
Yeah.
that again, right? Unfortunately, you have a tragic loss, and now all of a sudden, your life, you're scrambling. How do I figure this out again? In the book, you tell a story about how you end up in the UK. You're in London. That sounds really
Yeah.
glamorous to people, but what was your experience like there?
London, the name London is glamorous, but what I went through, it wasn't. So basically, my mom's a twin, and her twin sister live in England. And when I turned 18 years old, I finished high school, and I was here in the United States for a year. So I learned how to speak English, but it wasn't the best yet. And at that point, I have no money. My mom didn't have any money. I didn't know how I was going to go to school. University was just a dream at that point in my life.
Right.
And I knew that I was going to end up just like my family, right? Working on the beach, not making much money, which means like always living in my mom's house and never be able to have a car. And my aunt said, "Hey, you know how to speak English. What about you coming to England and you work with me?" And I said, "What I'm going to do?" She's like, "Well, I clean toilets. I'm a cleaner, and I work for this company they call like Home Depot. It's kind of like Walmart." And I said yes. And she's like, awesome, come over. And so I want to tell you this story, guys, because it's very important sometimes that you say yes to the opportunities, even though you don't know that it's the best one, or maybe somebody else is going to be making fun of you. Trust me, I was thinking about that the whole time when I was 18 years old, that I was going to a different country, not for vacation, not for have fun, but I was actually going there to save some money because I was already thinking about my future. I wanted to go to university, and I knew the only way to do it was to take that opportunity. And even though the opportunity seems like, oh my goodness, how would you say yes to go and clean toilets for 6 months and save money and go to university? Well, that was the only choice that I had. The second choice was to go and get a job and never be able to fulfill a dream. And I'm gonna tell you, it was the most humble experience I ever had in my life. Everybody talk about this. I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
Because I remember like clearly like cleaning the toilets and praying to God and say like, oh my goodness, I'm 18 years old cleaning toilets in a completely different country. I never thought I would be here because I thought my life would be set when my mom met the senator, right? And I would be going to this amazing university and live this amazing life. And it wasn't that. So I did it. I went there, I saved the money, I cleaned a lot of toilets, came back home with the money, and I put myself through school and I became a flight attendant.
Yeah, wow. So, I'm listening to your story and I think it's so powerful because this is kind of life for so many people. Maybe not the exact circumstance, but here you are, you're going through life, then you get an opportunity, things start to look up, and then something happens in life, and then, oh no, and okay, maybe I have another chance. So it's really powerful that not only that you got to experience those ups and downs, but despite having to go through those downs, you were still like, you know what, I'm going to be open to this next opportunity. Maybe something will open up for me. Maybe this is the step that I need to change my life. And in your case, it certainly has, right? We're going to fast forward again. We got to jump through Di's life here today. We fast forward again. Now you're headed to the US. You got $100 in your pocket. You have, you're going to start living this new life in the US, right? And you do that. You get married. You're living your life. You got divorced, right? You're living like normal. And then at some point, you make the decision that you are going to start chasing your dreams. Talk a little bit about what inspired that decision. In the book, you're talking about, I had this job, but it wasn't necessarily fulfilling me. What inspires you to say, you know what, I'm going to go and take another chance with my life? Right? You sort of settled down, you're sort of in some sort of normal. What made that happen?
So basically I started working as a corporate, right? I was a flight attendant. Then I ended up fulfilling my dream and went to school and got a degree as a social technologist. And then all of a sudden, I started thinking about like, I feel as I was meant for more, that I wanted to impact people's life. And for me to do that, I needed to create a second income. I needed to create some way that I can make more money than just my job. I got married. And then when I had my girls at 30 years old, I had twins. Things started to change again. And I'm still working in a corporate world. So this is when it comes to the whole shift, is that my girls was telling me all the time, Mommy, I never see you. I was going to the hospital at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was coming home about 6 o'clock in the evening. My girls are little, so they'll go into bed at 7:30, which means I was seeing them an hour and a half a day, which means roughly about 6 to 7 hours in a week. And all their people was taking care of my girls. The babysitter was taking care of my girl. My mother-in-law was taking care of my girl. We had a daycare that was taking care of the girls. Everybody was taking care of my girls except me. And I was super tired in the evening. So I had 30,000 that I have saved from when I was a flight attendant. At 19 years old, I started a 401k. And that money went to the IRA. And now I had 30,000 in the bank account. At this point, I was talking to my husband. I said, hey, I have this money in the IRA, $30,000. What I'm going to do with this, I can transfer that to the 401k, or I can do something that I always wanted to do, which is like open a business. And that's one of my entrepreneur journey kind of started, because you started with that business, like to be profitable. But before that business, I created a nonprofit, which is a Christian concert. And with that concert, it started to tell me, hey, you have what it takes. You're gonna have to go through a lot of failures to understand how to lead other people. And that was no money, because nonprofit organization has no money, right? Well, it does have money, but what I was doing, it didn't. It was just for for the community. It was something that I was doing for the community. And then now I have this 30,000. I wanted to build a business, and I have to start to think about what I'm going to do with this money. I went to Brazil. I studied the market. I opened the business for 2 years. I made no money. So I ended up opening a distribution center for cleaning products. Well, in 2 years into the company, so I started a network marketing business. So I'm saying all of this to you guys because at points in our lives, we are so busy that we think that we cannot do the things that we need to do necessarily, like is necessary to do, so we can create our own dreams, right? We can fulfill what we wanted to fulfill the whole time. So I was busy, married, twins, full-time job, 50 hours. I was doing a nonprofit. Then I was open a business. And guess what I said yes to? A network marketing business, right? So I was that person that had zero time for anything. When you see an opportunity, you for some reason you figured out how to make time. And I was building network marketing with 1 hour a day. That's all I had. And then that business that I opened 2 years ago starting to become profitable. You see how God does? God just do like a 180, just like that. And then I was able to, don't have to work anymore because I would never quit my job. But then they fire me because I called sick 3 times. So they fire me. So now I don't have that job at the hospital. I was focused on my traditional business, even though that was not making any money. And then I started with network marketing, starting making money with network marketing. And then after 2 years, that company became a 7-figure business.
Yes.
So think about it in a whole story again. I don't know where you are right now in your life or where you came from. But if a little girl from Brazil, South America, come to United States, didn't know how to speak English, figured out what she needed to figure it out. Today, be able to have, I'm almost 40 right now, be able to have a 6 figures company, right? Be able to open a network marketing, and I'm still growing and learning. So what's going to be your story? What is stopping you?
What's stopping you? I literally got goosebumps. Literally got goosebumps. Look
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing is stopping you except for yourself, right? Like we all have some stories. We all have some baggage. We've all been through some things. But people like Di, people who are willing to show up, people who are willing to take that chance, people who are willing to chase that dream are great examples to all of us of what we can achieve if we choose to do that in our life. So I literally love your story because it shows the ups and downs, and you're so honest and open. Look, I struggled for 2 years before this business hit 7 figures. This was not an overnight success story. I was not an overnight success story, but I know so many people who say, I would love to start a nonprofit. I would love to start a for-profit business. I would love to take a look at network marketing, but I just don't have the time. I just don't have the experience. I just don't have the background. I just don't have the right parents. So I didn't have those things. She didn't have those things, but she was hungry for it, right? That's what I loved about your story. I'm reading it and you're like, I'm online and I'm like, I know I can reach people on social media some kind of way. And you're making all of these things happen because you have the will and the know-how. So let's say someone's watching right now and they're like super inspired by your story, because how could they not be? And they're thinking, you know what, I might want to chase my own dreams down. What advice would you give to someone who's in that space thinking about taking those next steps?
So if you're right now just thinking about taking a step, going forward for your dream, I want you to think of this. How about you be the reason? You be the reason they would never stop going and chasing their dream.
Mm.
That's what I had on my mind. When I went through the school to become a flight attendant at 18 and 19 years old, my sister was born. And at that point, I told myself, I need to be somebody. I need to be the reason that my sister's going to follow this path. And what can I do? And I knew that's going to be like a long road. I knew that I need to be patient. I knew that I had the time, right? I had the time. It didn't matter if it would take me 10 years, 20 years to achieve what I need to achieve. This journey has been 20 years. So as you start your journey right now, you have time. You have time to create whatever you want. Now you have to make the choice. So think about this. Other people right now, it's waiting for you to take the first step. Other people right now, it's waiting to be blessed when you start your journey, because you will be their example. When you don't take that chance, when you don't take this step in your own dreams, other people will never start their dreams. And the reason I know this today is because after 20 years, I have had so many people that come up to me and said, hey, I went to church for the first time because of you, because I went to your Christian concert. Hey, I started my own business because I saw what you're doing. Hey, Di, I am so grateful that you share so much about your family and your kids. I'm grateful that you share about your faith and your struggles and things that you go through. When I was 200 pounds and I lost 50 pounds, somebody else started their journey to become healthier. So you saying yes to yourself and to your dreams, you will be the reason why other people will never quit. So do it. Just go for it.
That brought the fire in that little segment there. Yes, right? Like literally, I'm like, that is exactly what people need to hear. Like you could be the reason, but you have to make that choice. All right, Di, I know you're crazy busy. I know you've got a million things to juggle, right? You've got 3 businesses, you've got twins and all of that. People are probably going to want to figure out how they can be connected to you. They're going to want to learn more about you and your story. How can they do that?
Yeah, so my name is Di Carter, like I said in the beginning. So I do have a website called DiCarter.com if you want to learn a little bit more about social entrepreneur. We also just released a #1 booksellers in Amazon internationally. I just can't believe that happened, but it did. So the name of the book is The Elevation of Femalepreneur. And, you can always contact me through Facebook or CC over here. I just want to let you guys know, CC brings so much value right here at her live and her page. You just should tune into her. I've been following her for the past year. This is how we became friends. And I'm just super excited and grateful to have her in my life.
Same. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for that. I'm so grateful for you. Pick up her book. I'm telling you, her story is so inspiring, but so are some of the other stories in the book as well. Grab the book if you need help finding it. Reach out to Di or myself. We'll help you connect with her. She's an incredible human. She's real, right? You can reach out and touch her through social media. We chat all the time. She's such a good human. Definitely check her out. And Di, I so appreciate you taking some time to do this with me today. What a powerful story you shared today.
Thank you so much, Cece. I love you.
I love you too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Chat with you soon.